that is a coincidence, but the atmosphere of where everybody is right now with, well, not everybody, but large amounts of the quote unquote freedom crowd are now starting to look exactly like they are what the left wing was calling them 3 or 4 years ago. I'm seeing them talking about what's going on in the UK and getting into this whole deport them all psyop, where they're flat out saying, when I challenge them, well, yeah, it's okay, we'll take digital ID and biometric scans everywhere just to get rid of these people, because what else are we going to do? And then when I say, so you're going to just start walking around and being like, hey, you're the same skin color as the people we're mad at, so you're out of here, buddy. And then you're going to like take their genetic code and like build a database and put up some biometric scanners so that you can ensure none of the people that shouldn't be here ever go into a building they don't belong in again. Is that how far you're willing to go? Because can you see how much of a fucking useful idiot you are right now? Pardon my French.
I mean, help me.
So
No, keep it going. I like that fire.
it felt like it was time to come back and do, I'm sound a little bit egotistical right now, but so be it, to employ my logical fallacy smash hammer, because I think I have a pretty good one, and it kind of seemed like it was missing from this digital society here. So I decided to bring it back because I'm noticing people, even in my real life, who are starting to like the idea of the whole deport them all psyop. And I think it was like 3 years ago when I first tweeted, it's not going to be the Klaus Schwab Bond villains that give you all the technocratic enslavement. It's going to be the populists on the right. And you're going to take it as the solution to all the problems created by the globalists, right? And then, of course, when I make these arguments, I get massive backlash from people who are like, how dare you say there's anything wrong with being a white nationalist? What's your problem? Shouldn't people be allowed to have their ethnic hegemony? Well, yeah, I've never said that if you want to just marry your own kind and have kids with your own kind, there's anything wrong with that. That's not the issue here. The issue here is you're about to go on a full ethnic cleansing crusade to arbitrarily rip people out of a country because of their skin color or their religion.
And did we learn nothing from cheering on the Patriot Act?
Well, I'm also hearing, I've been hearing for a while now, I've been hearing people primarily in the Q camp talking about the Patriot Act's a great thing. Hey, that's how Trump's going to catch the bad guys. We need the Patriot Act because now they're spying on the guys who were spying on us, and we're going to catch them. We're going to catch them red-handed with the Patriot Act. So it's actually a good thing. It's crazy just how much the narrative
It's gone full circle, Global. It's gone full circle.
Yeah. So yeah, it just and then this interview with Elon. Well, that's just I find it interesting that in there he talked about therapeutics, right? I didn't listen to the whole thing just for posterity, but I did catch in the snippets he talked about advancing therapeutics release by fast tracking the FDA approval process permanently. What is that? Operation Warp Speed forever? Is that what he's saying? Operation Warp Speed forever. That's what that is. So from now on, everything is a 9-month approval process, right? And then what's the bar? How low has the bar been set for mandates and emergency use authorization too, right? So if it takes 9 months for everything now, is emergency use authorization going to be 2 weeks? We're going to get monkeypox jabs shipped out? Oh, wait, they've already been making them, and they got warehouses of them ready to go, right? Just like last time. So it doesn't make a difference. But there's people that are still supporting that man, who, by the way, doesn't have the power to do the things that you want him to do anyway. But even if he did, he's openly, flat out telling you he still supports fast-tracking the FDA approval process and is perfectly proud of everything he did. So has he ever once really recanted on his statements, which he made as early as March of this year? Not that long ago, 6 months ago, he was saying that Biden can thank him for all the work that was done, and mRNA is amazing, and now we're going to cure cancer with it. Has he walked back on any of that shit? No. And people are so desperate for someone else to save them. They know damn well this guy is a fucking snake oil salesman who still will defend the jab murders. And you can't even tolerate having a conversation about it. You have this blind allegiance because you're so afraid that to have nobody on your side in power, that you're not willing to find a way to take power back at the local level, to become the power to the point where corrupted people above you have no power to do anything over you unless they sick the military on you and take things to the next level, right? So, yeah, kind of felt like it was just time to come back and say the things that few people say.
You going to start hosting spaces too, or just speaker?
It might happen here and there. Yeah, I've also been, doing a lot of stuff with getting ready to go off grid at some point, and then working on music a lot. And I've got a lot of music projects going on, so I'll be spending a lot more time doing that. But from time to time, I will be coming here to smash logical fallacies kindly and politely until people cross the line and then deserve exactly what they get.
Come on, man. We deserve some tears. Don't be nice.
Well, the niceness is only on the first reply. As soon as they become inflammatory or use ad hominems, then it's fair game. And I think, I don't know, I try not to go too far. I just give them back the level that they're at. But do it better. It's kind of my goal.
You think he's going to stop the Israel and Hamas war?
Well, what I see happening, and I'll touch on what Ampo said earlier, I'll expand on that. This is a manufacturing of prophecy. Everything that they do is to manufacture prophecy, to manipulate the three religions of the world that are Abrahamic into falling in line with the belief that this is the end of the world and they should play their parts and show God their conviction by doing exactly as their religions have programmed them to do. So why do you think that this site got taken over by a guy who seemingly, I don't know, it seems like he's a stooge of the ADL and Israeli interests? We get a lot of people showing evidence of that. And then in the next breath, the algorithm showing you endless amounts of Israeli genocide on Gaza to weaponize your anger towards Israel. Because you know what? You can't have the war of Gog Magog unless you have a whole bunch of people that really fucking hate Israel. So yeah, that kind of makes sense because, well, what else are they doing? Well, they shipped over, 10 red heifers last year. We don't know if they've been sacrificed yet or not, but that's to convince a bunch of people to believe that it's the end times. There's plans to build the third temple. They might already be building it. We don't really know. That's to convince people. The Euphrates River drying up. That's to convince people. Oh, guess what? I think it's Turkey. There's a diversion in Turkey that's been just added a few years ago to speed up the drying of the Euphrates River. It was unnecessary, according to some people, for agricultural reasons, but it's actually just diverted it to help dry up the riverbed. And all the Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, have prophecies that all align together when it comes to some of this end time stuff. And what does it say about the Antichrist? Well, the Antichrist will come to Israel's defense, probably in the war of Gog Magog. I don't know. Some of the timeline is hard to really grasp, but that makes sense. And then at some point, which Christians would refer to as the split between the pre-trib, post-trib, the middle trib thing, when it goes into full nightmare mode, that's when he stabs Israel in the back, right? So, yeah, it kind of makes sense that that's where we're heading. And this whole, stepping in to save Israel and stop the war thing would play right into the prophecy of the Antichrist coming in to rescue Israel and everybody being weaponized on social media to hate Israel. Which, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of reasons to dislike what's going on over there, and we should be identifying the real perpetrators at the top and not grouping people up by the J word, not even the Zionist word, because truly there are people that use Zionist as a label and they only believe that means Israel has a right to exist, or they're secular Zionists and they don't even have never read the Talmud, they've never read the Torah, they have no idea, they haven't read the Tanakh, they're not religious. They just think it means, oh, well, Israel's got the right to have a secular state. I don't know. So do you want to group those people up together with Rothschild and friends? Is that what you want to do? So that when it's time for some kind of reckoning, if we get lucky enough for that innocent people go down with good people, with bad people once again? We got to be discriminate. We can't be indiscriminate, right? So we got to use the proper identifiers when we're talking about the enemy, and we have to resist the urge to be triggered by what we see in the algorithm and then lash out at an entire group of people, because it's leading to the point where a lot of those who were claiming 4 years ago, hey, progressive left, you're wrong about me. I'm far right. I'm not far right. I'm just right so far. Now they're like, you're damn right. I'm far right. And I'm ready to fly a swastika in my front yard. What you going to do about it? You know why? Because 1% of you are causing problems. So I'm ready to get rid of all of you. Ugh. Really, people? Is that where we are now?
Hey, Global, and General Flynn is calling for a single national religion.
Okay, look, I got to piggyback on what Global's saying right now, Israel, man. I'm sorry. So I picked up some.
Spiritual. No, buddy, it doesn't work like that, but it doesn't work like that. Everyone wants to piggyback off that. One world order, one religion, and one currency is where we're heading. But spiritual, gotta wait your turn, bud. We have a good friend here, Brandy. We'll go to Brandy because we haven't heard from her. Then we'll go to Lee, spiritual. Oh, well, hold on. Brandy, Eugenie, Lee, and spiritual. So don't leave spiritual. Stick around.
Well, hello everyone, and I'm coming up to harass Global because I saw him yesterday in a space I believe. Didn't stop in, but saw you had taken a mic somewhere, and then
Robotics, you're just going to have to take this digital ID and biometric scans. You'd say no. But down the road, when parts of the United States are looking like UK on steroids right now, and Trump, let's say, is in power, and he's like, hey, I talked to Elon, and we've got this thing we can do with blockchain where it's going to be anonymous, so nobody really knows that you've got a digital ID. It can't be hacked. It can't be this. It can't be that. But we need everybody to submit their DNA, their biometric identifiers, so that we have a system that can allow us to identify who belongs here and who doesn't, so we can deport all the criminals and the terrorists that the Democrats brought in, that the globalists flooded the country with. Then there will be a shitload of people that will say, sign me up, boss, because I'll do whatever it takes for my country. That's what's most likely to occur, in my opinion, because most of everything they do is by consent. How are they going to get you to consent to a technocratic authoritarian state? It has to look like there's no choice but to take a technocratic authoritarian state in order to undo all the globalist fuckery, right? Who's the perfect salesman?
Kind of like the Patriot Act, Global.
Exactly. And who's the perfect salesman for that?
You know,
Trump, Elon, all those guys, right?
I got something to tell you. I wish Patriot was here to listen because this came out of his mouth. About a week and a half ago, I think I was in his space or he joined me. I don't remember, but he said something and that was really interesting. And this shows progress in truth, not left or right. Progress in truth. He said, Israel, I'm starting to understand that there's bigger people that run this shit. And what he's saying is that he knows that Trump reports to someone, but at the same time, he's still for Trump. So he's kind of, but the needle has moved a bit, you see, and maybe and it's hard to get into his space and talk because he makes us wait like freaking 45 minutes, and I don't have that patience. So, but I wanted to elaborate. I wanted to expand on that comment he made, and this is already a week and a half old comment. But I thought to myself, like, holy shit! All right, this super pro humper. I'm sorry, it's super pro Trumpster. He's starting to see that there's other things behind the scenes that many don't see, and that's big. That's big for people to when they start making that shift, because everything after that becomes easy. Spiritual, you want to respond to Global before we go to Ample?
I'm
I know.
he's got me over here tongue tied, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't see it like that. I see
kind of just get stuck and like, oh, they're sacrificing. When don't people sacrifice? Really? I mean, people still do sacrifices for their religion today, whether it be a goat and whatnot. Anyways, what I'm saying is you have to dig a little deeper and to think that, okay, listen, I saw someone get their kneecap fucking busted out over $20 over drugs. You don't think if somebody wants the president dead, he ain't gonna be dead? You know what I'm saying? So the magnitude in which all that happened, I still question if AI wasn't involved too, because I think that's what might start seeing to manipulate the eyes. We all transfer information through what we see, right? So as long as we see it, we can believe it. Seeing is believing. But in all reality, if you dig a little deeper, I mean, think of the construct. If someone needs to be dead, they gonna be dead. Okay. So, but please look into the Jesuits. Go deeper than the Freemasons, because basically the Freemasons came out of a lower secular unit to bring globalization everywhere else under that guise. That's why in the United States, you could go to an unincorporated town and you see what? A gas station, a church, and a Masonic lodge. Why is that? I literally just drove through a small town up north. Their Masonic lodge was bigger than the gas station they had. It was bigger than the restaurant they had there. You know what I'm saying? So, and these people are your sheriffs, your court officials, your landowners, your farmers, your school superintendents. So, so when you say like we're against all these evil people, you have to realize that those people might live down the street from you. Okay, so I just want to put that in perspective. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, but stop being a stranger, man. All right. That's all I'm gonna say. Spiritual. You got a lot of homework, bro, and it's good though, man. You came at the right time, the right day, because the crowd here is really specific on a certain thing, and that is exactly what you're hearing. And they can help. It might not. I hope it doesn't push you away as far as having cognitive dissonance. And rather than that, you start peeling these onion layers a little more. And you came at us with the Bilderberg stuff, and that was actually a good start. So just keep digging, my friend. You there, spiritual freedom? All right. I'll assume that he heard me. Global, you want to respond to that? Should I go to the hands?
Well, I just wanted to add a few things too. Like Ampo's absolutely right. He was actually twice Jesuit as educated, then put his own children into Jesuit schools. His daughter was engaged to a Rothschild and then married a Kushner. And if you understand both of those families, then you know it's impossible for Trump to be who he's pretending to be right now. You cannot marry into the Rothschild family or the Kushner family without accepting many, many things. Look into the all of the rules from the Kabbalah around what he would have to do to get Kushner family, or to even have an interarranged marriage between his family and their family. But on top of that, let's look at his business dealings. Pretty much everything he's ever done in New York with real estate, he's had investors, and almost always on the top investors of the hedge funds that he's working with, you find Rothschild or Rothschild subsidiaries and Soros. So if you want to talk about the biggest business partners that Trump's ever had, Soros, Rothschilds, and the mafia for his Atlantic City casino endeavors. Now let's get into just what you have to do to become a cutthroat real estate mogul in New York. Okay, who runs New York? Who do you have to know? Who do you have to grease the wheels with? Why do you think he was at Epstein parties all the time? You can believe whatever you want about distancing himself later, unlike Bill Gates, but if they're manufacturing your heroes for you, then that has to be part of his story, doesn't it? Right? So to go beyond that, really what it comes down to is presidents don't really have any power. They don't write the executive orders. They don't write anything. They sign their names on things that other people write. They don't have any power. There's been shadow government after shadow government long before this whole deep state thing got labeled. And those are the people that are really making the decisions. Okay, when JFK found out the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon were up to all those things with Operation Northwoods, that's the real government. And even that government is not the top. There are people above the Joint Chiefs of Staff who were giving them ideas from think tanks because they wanted to get into a war with Cuba, and they were looking for ways to instigate it. Right? They were looking for ways to look like they were defending themselves when they got into the war. That's the real government. Trump has no power. He gets told what to do, and he gets given lines. Although most of the time he ad-libs his speeches because that's his style, and it makes people believe he's genuine and he's not a politician, right? Which is also part of the script. Oh, Trump, we're not going to give you any lines. Go out there and just do your thing. Act your little freestyle, do your ad-libs, because that's what makes people believe that you're on the side of the people. He's not a politician. Listen to him. He doesn't read from a script or a teleprompter. He's just off the cuff. He's just one of us. He's on our side. No, he's not on your side. He's the guy that fast-tracked the FDA approval process and now wants to make that permanent. He wants it to be forever, Operation Warp Speed, for everything, with the corrupt FDA. Does he talk about fixing the FDA corruption? No, because he thinks they're doing a great job of fast-tracking mRNA vaccines, which, oh, Biden's taking credit for my mRNA vaccines. We're going to cure cancer with those vaccines, Biden. You're welcome. That's Trump's position. And when you have to sweep that stuff under the rug to support him on other things because he's the only one that's even remotely close to being on your side, then you have to ask yourself, do you really believe what you think you believe? Look in the mirror.
I just DM'd him asking him where he went. Usually he loses connection, so it's not new. Oh, here he is. Let's hear him. Let's give him a chance to respond, and then from that we'll go to Jeannie, then Tov, then Dr. Angel.
And Andrew's in the line.
I'm sorry.
Andrew as well.
Where is Andrew?
That's me. That's Jeannie. I changed my name. I have fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the negative effects that it can have, and there are people that do well on it, and there are people that wind up with like lifelong massive migraine problems that never go away. So I don't really know. With the technology that they had, I believe that Holosync was actually part of the MK Ultra program, and part of how you create MK Ultra Manchurian candidates is by creating a personality, a hidden personality within their own personality that can be activated by trigger words. And how you create that compartmentalization in their brain is through trauma that causes disassociation. So any trauma that's so intense, it causes you to disassociate from your own identity. You've now opened up the brain into a place where a new identity can be installed in an area of the brain and then given triggers. It can be trained, it can be given orders, and then it can be activated by triggers. And the original personality, the original identity, is unaware. And so I started to question whether or not it was the greatest way to hypnotize myself or subconsciously program myself with positive things, when it was actually a tactic that was used in MK Ultra to create compartmentalization in the brain to program people. So that's something people should be aware of. It works for some people. For other people, it creates big problems, and it doesn't have the nicest history of what it was used for, what it was invented for. And then as far as having hope, something that Spiritual said, hey man, I gotta have hope, man. So I hear what you're saying, but I just don't really want to ponder too much on it because I got to hold on to my hope. Well, to that, I'll say I can respect the need to maintain hope, but false hopes are actually fear disguised as virtue. And fear disguised as virtue will never bring you what real hope will bring you. It's not going to give you that strength that you're looking for to hang on in tough times. That's what we look for when we're looking for something to have hope in. The key is to become strong enough internally to have hope no matter how bad things get in yourself and the people around you, your family, what you believe in, and to understand that it doesn't matter how many days you get on this planet. What matters is the quality of the days that you get on this planet. It doesn't matter how we go down. It matters how we lived. It doesn't matter how you fall. It matters how you stood. And you don't stand up because it looks like we're going to win. You stand up because that's who you are, and the odds don't matter to you. Because you stand up regardless of whether or not you think you can win. And if you can find a place where you can have that kind of strength, then you never need to find false hopes outside of yourself, because you always have all the hope you need if you look within.
Wow, good stuff. Global. Before we go to Jamile, Erickson, are you there?
I have been doing the binary beats, for the past 6 years. I've been telling myself these exact words: I am God, I am spiritual, I am enlightened, I am worthy, I'm guided, I'm blessed, I'm loved, I am spiritual freedom. I literally been telling myself that for 6 years. I have only felt something. I don't know what it is because I just felt it the past 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks now. Something. So the other night I was telling Israel, I been hearing the ether. You can reach out into the ether and grab stuff. And I took Israel's advice on homing my energy and rubbing my hands together. I clapped my hands when we was playing spades. I imagined the cards that was laid out in front of me. I'm shitting y'all not. In my head, I seen the cards played out that was in front of me on the table. No shit. The next go around, the same thing. I imagined good cards, but I got shitty cards, and it was on the table. I'm nobody. I am nobody. I'm like Patriot says, I'm a big nothing burger. Real shit. I'm a big nothing burger. But for a big nothing burger like me to do some shit like that is very intriguing and interesting. And if a big nothing burger like me can do it, anybody can do it. So I just had to say that, Israel. I love you, Space. I love you, man. And you know, I've come on Israel Spaces before and had stuff happen to me, and Israel's guided me. And I don't know if Israel believes me when I say these things, but he ain't dismissed me. And that's why I appreciate you, Israel.
Hey, Freedom, I appreciate you too, man. That's the wonders of these spaces. You never know who you're gonna meet, and some people just they can become of value and impactful. And I'm glad I can be of service. TOV, you're up, buddy.
Okay, I'll try and make it quick. Um, actually, it's Tove. It's actually my name.
I apologize.
Anyway,
Tove, welcome,
no.
and rapid fire. Thank you.
Okay. Um, what I was saying earlier about how we have to realize that the bigger picture, I think we got to start with the little picture. This is how we get to people. You know, the common people that are still hypnotized and everything. You point out stuff like you say to them, okay, so you got the shots. You thought you needed the shots, but they let in all those illegal immigrants. They didn't test them. They didn't do anything. They flew them all over. How deadly could it be? So you have to kind of get them to a point of logic to start questioning everything, and then you can build it up, right? You can say, well, maybe the president isn't really the president. And it took me a while. For example, I never liked Trump. I grew up with him. I remember Marla Maples and all that. I thought he was obnoxious and terrible. And then when I saw he took over as president, I thought, oh, cool, he's against everybody. But you know what caught me was when he attacked Syria for that false flag. And from there on in, especially the last year of his presidency, he had Fauci up there. He locked everything down. He did the warp speed and all that other stuff. This is what you got to do. They're obviously not going to look at the higher picture. They're like everybody else said. They're going to think you're nuts. The demons, the this, the that. But if you can just show them the logic of their beliefs and snap them of that, then they can start questioning. Then we can start building our relationships with everybody, and maybe then we have a chance. But we got to start with baby steps. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Tove. You know, today we've talked a little bit of everything. Wow. We went from Afghanistan and the armada we left behind, Ukraine and how they're partying up with our tax dollars, to the COVID shot, to 5G towers, some spiritual stuff, some breath work, you know, some real talk regarding who runs the world and stuff like that. We've gone full circle, guys. JD, you keep requesting a mic, but I am sorry. We are closing the space, sir. And to everyone else who requested a mic, I do apologize. Um, I am a good 20 minutes behind on closing the space. So I want to thank everyone for their time here. You could have gone to other spaces, but you came here instead, and I appreciate you for that. Global, you want to take us home, bud?
Well, I don't know where any of you live, so I don't know how to do that, but I'll wrap things up if that works. So first, before I close things out, I just want to say, Tav, great to hear that you came to your senses on Trump, but I got to warn you, you got a Canadian flag in your profile, and there's people that will try to shut you down for talking about anything to do with America. By the way, I recommend that you search every one of their profiles for the words Trudeau, Canada, Polyev, anything to do with Canadian politics. I'm pretty sure you're going to find absolutely every person trying to shut you down, saying Canadians can't have an opinion on American politics, has already voiced their opinion on Canadian politics. And you know what's funny? I'm not sure if any of them are even aware of the Cross-Border Security Act, the one that allows the US government to fly drones over Canada and surveil Canada up to 10 miles on either side of the border. And I'm not sure if they're aware of the fact that the CIA and FBI often come up here and work with law enforcement to catch fugitives on Canadian soil that are wanted in America. I'm not sure if you understand that all of our data in Canada ends up getting routed through servers that wind up going through American alphabet agencies. I'm not really sure if you understand that nations these days don't really exist, and your government is a facade, just like our government is a facade. And that the first step in understanding that the governments of the world are all working together behind the scenes to screw you over, funnel all the wealth in the world into the small hands of people that already have most of it, and lead you into a one world government, one world religion system, one financial system where you have zero rights and you're treated like serfs who are digitally enhanced or transhumanistically edited against your will whenever they want. If they decide to keep you, that is, because they'd like the population to get down underneath 250 million people. And if we're to get anybody to do anything to stop any of this, one of the first things that needs to happen is all the people that blindly believe that either Trump's on their side or that voting can stop this come to their senses. So excuse me if I care enough about the people on the other side of the fucking border to take time out of my life I could spend with my family trying to save your American asses. Okay, because I'm trying to do the same thing for Canadians. I'm trying to do the same thing for every single fucking country in the world. So don't think you're special when I say something about Trump or Biden or Harris, whatever, and try to get you to come to your senses. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome that I'm taking my time out of my day to try and help you. And I know you've already done it to me too. Okay, so don't make me search your timelines and find all the times that you've talked about Canadian politics. Okay, because it's not just election interference to talk about my country's politics during an election season. Okay, you're manipulating electoral votes in the off season. What's the difference? Let's not be arbitrary and indiscriminate either. Let's recognize there's a lot of tribal groupthink going on, a lot of divide and conquer. We're on the same page here. We're Team Humanity, the real one, not the Elon Musk hashtag that's actually like Team Transhumanism, but they're using our flag. And recognize there's a lot of people steering us right now. We're getting bombarded with the algorithms trying to show us all this stuff that's going to trigger emotional responses to get us to react in ways where we start supporting solutions that were created in advance by the same people that brought us the problems. Thanks.
All right. On the next space, Global, I want to talk about breakdancing in the Olympics. How about that? That should be a fun space. Did you guys see that? Oh, my goodness. That was a joke. It was a joke to what I was able to do when I was 10 years old, 12 years old, trying to breakdance. Global, it was good seeing you. Good hearing from you, my friend. It was great.
Israel,
Oh, yes,
before you
sir.
go,